for joining me today.
No
We were
worries,
just
it's,
in a very interesting conversation. So this is Talal, co-founder of CoinMena. So Talal, just for a little bit of context for everyone else, we were talking about office politics, and you're saying that office politics is not necessarily a bad thing. Please explain, because I disagree.
Okay, so I guess maybe I would reword it.
Okay.
I would say that it's naive to think that there isn't politics. Every organization, every family, every relationship has politics. There is, and if you acknowledge that head on and you understand what everyone's incentive is, you can make sure that those politics don't stop you or hinder your growth. Because every organization has politics. It's naive to think that there isn't. Anytime there's human interaction, you will end up with some sort of politics. And if you acknowledge it head on and are aware of it, then you can mitigate the risks or the hindrance that will come from that.
So then, let's talk about CoinMena. What kind of politics are going on in CoinMena, and how do you manage that?
There's always politics between sales and support. There's always, like if you wanted to look at the biggest friction, product and tech. Every organization globally, product wants to build, and tech are saying, hey, we have limitations, whatever. Client support and sales. Sales always says, hey, we can give you the best prices, we can give you the best service, whatever. And then when you come to execution, maybe the price isn't necessarily what the sales team did it. So the best way to do that is to figure out where you have these areas of friction and put incentives to align those different departments. So if sales brings in a customer that has incorrect idea about pricing, then they're liable for that. So like if they promise them the moon and then you come in and you end up with high costs, that's where the tension and politics will happen.
Yes.
So acknowledging those areas of friction early on and solving it from its root, that's how you mitigate the negative effects of office politics. And top alignment is critical. So like CoinMena, we're 3 founders, and Dina and I are managing the business day to day, and we are always aligned on what our short, medium, and long-term goals are.
So I'll ask what those are in a second, if I may. But is misalignment between different departments, is that politics?
It leads to politics.
Ah, okay. I
And
understand.
honestly, the best way to avoid, so bad apple theory, it is adding new team members is the surest way to add politics, especially like if you look at other crypto exchanges, they've hired and fired so much.
Yeah.
Whereas CoinMena, we've been steady. Why? Because I think adding the wrong team member has a way bigger negative effect than just not adding someone.
Yes.
And removing a team member sometimes has a very positive effect if that person is creating drama. And that's only possible if you have full alignment on the top. Like if the partners know what the end goal is and you're working your way backwards, then you end up with something called organizational efficiency, where the actions of everyone is contributing to the same goal. So for example, CoinMena had one goal last year. Be compliantly profitable. What does compliantly profitable mean? To say only profitable, that means you can take dodgy business like some other businesses in the Middle East, and they do that. But for us, we're compliantly profitable, which means that we need to comply with all our regulations and grow the business. So every day we used to look at how much volume, how much profit we're making. And if we're not reaching our targets, it means we need to change something in order to end up reaching that goal.
Very good. Well,
Long-term goal is go public, مثلا. And then how do you work your way backwards? What do I need to do today so that CoinMena can be listed on Dubai financial markets or ADX or Tadawul 2-3 years from today?
2-3 years is very ambitious to go public.
Not really, no. I disagree.
No?
It's not ambitious.
Oh, I was thinking maybe 5.
And for us, if it's not ambitious, we don't want it.
Fair.
I'm not doing this to go from 0 to 1. I'm doing this to go from 0 to 1 million. So if it's not ambitious, I don't want to hear it.
And I think that's a very common mindset in the virtual asset space, right? Because we're used to things taking so much quicker than they would in the traditional business world. So speaking of, you have mentioned like a short and a long-term goal. But you mentioned the short-term goal for last year was compliantly
profitable.
So when you earlier said that you have a short, medium, and long, is your short still the same?
No.
And then what's the medium? And then we know the long.
So short is quarterly.
Okay.
Medium is annually.
Yeah.
Long is 3 years. Anyone planning ahead of 3 years for long term is lying to themselves.
Sure.
Because we don't know what's going to happen. Like when investor tells me, give me your 5-year plan, I'm like, piss off. I don't want to speak to you. What 5-year plan, man? 5 years ago, what were you doing? So I think 3 years is enough of a long-term strategy, and that for us is to go public. And the reason why we said go public is public means you need to be compliant, because you can't go public if you're messing around. You need to be profitable, which means you're doing sustainable business and not just raising venture capital, burning it, and then inshallah I will raise again. And you need to be growing, because a profitable, compliant company that's not growing annually isn't going to go public. So the goals for this year is to triple our revenue. So far, since inception, we've been tripling our revenue annually. And this year, the goal is to triple revenue, which means that we need to capture additional market share in the Middle East.
And I'm sure, knowing you will get there, no problem. But you guys recently got your VARA full approval, didn't you?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
First and foremost.
Thank you.
That's a feat. And I know a lot of people would be really interested to hear about your experience in this regard, because a lot of people are still going through the process or thinking about going through it. So tell us, how has it been?
Well, honestly, it's been great. We've been very, very lucky to engage early with DWTC. We signed an MOU with them in 2021 to develop a crypto hub at DWTC. That obviously did not happen, but then they came up with VARA, which is a much more ambitious project, and we were one of the first to apply. They have a service-based approach, which in my opinion is the best way to regulate crypto. I'd previously done other regulated businesses where I spent most of my time trying to figure out if a token is a utility, security, or a payment token. And then you end up with people trying to make their tokens look like a utility because it has less regulations. But what VARA did is very smart by saying, hey, these are different services. If you fall under that category, this is what you need to do. It took us a while to get licensed by VARA, but all good things take time. And people might say, no, it shouldn't. The reality is, globally, there isn't a single virtual asset regulator. They've all taken the lazy approach of trying to push it under the Security and Commodity Authority or push it under the whatever free zone. But VARA is the first virtual asset specific regulator. So, we're very proud to be VARA regulated. It's been very helpful for our business because now we can market locally, we can acquire retail and institutional and corporate users. Very proud and happy to be regulated by VARA.
How long did the process take you? So you mentioned that you signed the MOU, which obviously wasn't the date that you applied to VARA, but that was still a good 2.25 years ago. So if you don't mind me asking, how long did the actual VARA process take?
So the VARA process takes as long as you decide it, because there's some things that the ball is in your court and some parts are in VARA's court.
Right.
And some part is actually neither you or VARA. For example, we're regulated as a broker. In order to get a broker dealer license, we needed to get a CBUAE approved client money account.
Okay.
And for us to get a CBUAE regulated client money account, that took a very long time because you need to convince your bank. Your bank needs to get a letter from the central bank saying that they don't object to you having this client money account, and that's basically one of the longest lead times. But I would say it took us about a year. But a lot of the times, ball was in our court.
No, but regulated entities in general take anywhere from 6 to 8 months, not virtual asset, but traditional ones. And so if we're looking at a year to be regulated by a new authority that in virtual assets specifically, that's really good actually.
Yeah.
It's really good, I'm surprised. And in terms of the process, other than this account, was there anything else unexpected?
No, unexpected, not really.
No?
Everything is if you go through the application
rules,
process
yeah?
properly,
Okay.
they clarify all of the points that you need to do before you actually get there, like insurance, approved positions. You need to hire your compliance, your chief information security officer, like general manager. These need to be residing in the UAE, and yeah, I don't think anything necessarily caught us by surprise. It's all things that we knew that we had to do.
That you accounted for. And are you kind of operating this one as a standalone entity in respect to
So
the
we
rest
have
of the group,
CoinMena
or?
Holding that
Yeah.
owns CoinMena Bahrain and CoinMena Dubai. So we follow a very simple org structure to make sure that there's clarity on who owns the business, who are the UBOs, because some other competition or some other companies in crypto have opaque structures. And if you look at the FTX one where they blew up, they had like a messed up ownership structure, like spaghetti type ownership structure where you just have entity going into entity. For us, you have one holding, owns two regulated businesses, and inshallah, once we get regulated in other countries, we'll just add that as another subsidiary to the holdco.
Exactly. No, great. Seems like you really have everything in order.
Everything
So-
in order is a stretch. No one has everything in order.
True.
But
No,
at
true.
least we're going in the right direction.
So if you could give anyone, just as a closing note, right? If you could give anyone kind of guidance and advice in terms of, I guess, if they're wanting to apply for VAR, right? Would you say that they can do it by themselves? They have to engage someone else? I know you've said that they need to read the regulations, and as long as they're ready for that, then they're good. Would you recommend it? Like closing notes.
Don't
from
over-rely
your-
on lawyers.
Yeah,
Don't
okay.
over-rely on consultants. No, it's true
No,
because
I agree.
I don't say don't
agree.
use.
Yeah,
I say
sure.
don't over-rely.
Exactly.
And over-rely
Exactly.
implies, or in the way that I would describe over-rely, is if your compliance officer cannot answer questions about the policy, then you're left with a big disconnect. Someone that did the policies, the person that's going to implement them doesn't know what the policies are, you're going to get screwed.
Yeah.
Whereas at CoinMena, we did the process in alignment, so the team know exactly what's in the policy and it's easier for them to comply with it.
Very good. I think that's excellent advice. Not to have the disconnect. Excellent.
It's
And I'm a
guidance, maybe
lawyer,
not
so
advice, because I technically don't give advice. But it
I
is,
can give advice.
yeah,
I can
and
say it. I second that.
yeah. صح, that's
So, Talal, thank you so much
No,
for your
thank
time.
you,
It was
thank you.
lovely speaking to you, and we look forward to
amazing.
more, regulated licenses cropping up across.
Let's do it. Habibti, thank you.